I'm going to show you how to do a secant graph. Secant is just 2 steps further than cosine graph. So you're going to start off graphing it like it's a cosine. So cosine starts at 1 and it goes down and then up. And you're going to continue that on both sides, just like that. And then wherever there's a change in whether it's going up or down, that's where you're going to put the asymptote. So where cosine is 0, that's where you draw your asymptote, which is these lines right here. So I'm going to put it right there, right there, right there, right there, and right there. Now, where you graph your secant is basically where you have a peak. So wherever the peak is, which is right here, you just draw a little U, like that. And you do that for all the different areas where there's a peak. And then you erase your cosine graph. And then you have your asymptotes and your secant. And that's basically the basics of how to graph a secant.
Okay, so our problem is y is equal to -2 plus secant of x. So now we're going to find a, and that's equal to 1, the amplitude, which is the absolute value of a, so that's 1 as well. Then we have b, that's 1, the period, which is 2 pi over b, which is 1. So it's 2 pi. And then we have d, which is our shift, and it's -2. So now we're going to graph it. So we put, the first is pi over 2, then we have pi, then we have 3 pi over 2, and then we have 2 pi. And then we put -pi over 2 and -pi. So first we need to graph cosine. So to graph the cosine of this would be -2 cosine x. So normally we would start right here, but since the d is -2, we're going to go down 2. So now we're going to start at -1, and we go down, down, up, up. We follow the curve. Down, down, up, up. We follow the curve. And now you're going to do your asymptotes, which is wherever the curve ends. So right here, and this one as well, and then the last one's here. And now we're actually gonna graph the cosine, the secant I mean. It's right here, and you graph it right here, and right here. So now we're gonna erase our cosine, because we don't need cosine, we need secant. So you erase our cosine, and we're left with our secant, and that's the answer.
Okay, so this is my example. As you can see, my example is y equals 2 secant 2x. And what we're first going to want to do is we're going to want to find the a, the amp, the b, the period, and the c. But in this case, there is no c, so all we're going to want to do is find these first 4. Okay, so let's start. My a is going to equal 2, as indicated right here, and my amp is just the absolute value of a, which since a is 2, my amp's going to be 2. My b is going to be 2, and my period is 2 pi over b, and my c is 0. Now, 2 pi over b means that my period is going to be 2 pi over 2, meaning my period is going to be just pi, because the 2's cancel, as indicated right there. So, what we're going to want to find our points. So we're going to do pi times 1/4, pi times 1/2, and pi times 3 over 4. And we're just going to multiply straight across. So this means that it's going to be pi over 4, pi over 2, and 3 pi over 4. So then we're just going to fill that in our chart as in seen right here. So our first one is going to be pi over 4, as you can see right there. Second one's going to be pi over 2, right there. Third one's going to be 3 pi over 4, which is the last one. And then our fourth one is simply just going to be our period, which we got from finding 2 pi over b, which came out to just be 2 pi over 4, as you can see right there. Second one's going to be pi over 2, right there. Third one's going to be 3 pi over 4, which is the last one. And then our fourth one is simply just going to be our period, which we got from finding 2 pi over b, which came out to just be 2 pi over 2, which is just pi, right there. So, then, we cannot graph it right now because it says that our a equals 2, meaning that we're going to jump up 2 places. And secant is just basically cosine, but all it is 1 over cosine. So instead of drawing the normal, how we would do it just like this, coming up like that, we would draw the same exact thing, but instead of having the maximums, we would have it sort of in like a U-shaped pattern, as indicated by the min and the max. So what we're going to do now is we're going to graph it. Let me get my pencil out. You always want to draw in pencil first, because you're going to want to erase it afterward, or you're going to have to erase it after. So since our a equals 2, the cosine originally starts right at the 1, but since it's 2, we're going to want to start right here at the 2. So I'm going to draw my point right at the 2, as indicated right there by my a, right here. And we are simply going to right now draw our line. So we're going to go all the way down to pi over 4. It's going to drop all the way down to 2 again, to negative 2, I'm sorry. Come back up to pi over 3, and it's going to climb all the way back up, and it's going to get to pi right here at the same time, right there by my a, right here. And we are simply going to right now draw our line. So we're going to go all the way down to pi over 4. It's going to drop all the way down to 2 again, to negative 2, I'm sorry. Come back up to pi over 3, and it's going to climb all the way back up, and it's going to get to pi right here. At the same time it gets to my point right here on the y, which is 2. And this could go on forever in either the negative or the positive. So it's going to go down again and eventually come back up. And right now we're just going to draw our asymptotes. And draw asymptotes. Usually you want to do at least 3 asymptotes. And we're going to come back up. So I have my third asymptote right here. Then all we're just going to be doing is drawing with now the pen. You're drawing right here. Like I said, almost like the U shape. Coming up again, just like that. And it's just going to go everywhere where there is a minimum and a maximum. As you can see, I drew 4 right here, but it goes on forever. Then you simply get the pencil, and you erase the pencil drawings. And there you have it. You have y equals 2 secant 2x, and you just graphed it. And it is indicated right here, right here, right here, and right there.
So here we have an example, y equals 3 times secant times x. You have to find the reciprocal, so it will be y equals 3 cosine of x. The amplitude equals 3 because of the 3 right in front of the cosine. The b equals 1. And since the period is 2 pi over b, the period equals 2 pi. since there's no C, we have to figure out the 4 key points. And that will be 2 pi times 1/4 2 pi times 1/2 and 2 pi times 3/4. Then you have pi over 2 pi and 3 pi over 2. So here, we're going to make our graph. So 0, that's our starting point. Then we plug in the numbers in here. Pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, and the endpoint would be the period, which is 2 pi. So we look at the graph and you look at our amplitude. Our amplitude is 3, so 1, 2, 3. We start from 3. So make a curve here. And then we make it on the other side as well. So then we look for the asymptotes. And there's one here. One here. One here. And one here. After that, your parabola will go off the peaks of the valley. So there will be one here, one here, one here. Should be under, but there's really no space. And one there. So after this would be your answer. After that, you have to erase the green line. I'm not going to do that because it'll be sloppy, but you guys get the idea.